Ron. Ron came to me when I was disappointed in love, after I had given up on relationships following many failures. I met him in Chevere. He and his friend Matthew were enjoying an afternoon there, and so was I, and one of my friends was trying to get me to meet Matthew. Matthew was handsome. Ron, he wasn't ugly, but he wasn't the kind of man who makes you tremble at the sight of him or makes your knees fail you. His hair was like corn when it's growing, a very different red. Mustache, glasses, not too tall or too strong, but something came up really fast in us. We spent the afternoon talking, and I told him that seriously, I wasn't interested in any relationship at the time. But inexorably, that was written. It was written from the beginning, not to last, because it didn't last, only 3 months. 3 months that felt like a lifetime. It's that kind of love that is never forgotten, even when it's gone and you know you're never going to see it again. It's that kind of love that stays in your soul forever, that no matter where you are or where life has taken you or him, you never forget. It wasn't my first love, but it was the first one that took from me what a woman is waiting for to be taken at that point in her life. He was the first. Ron was the alpha, not the omega, but the alpha of my life. I know what I have said before, or that I had other loves, and they were serious relationships, or at least that's what I thought in my mind of 16, 18, or 19 years old. But I knew that this was my first adult relationship. Ron and I walked back to my house that night. He accompanied me, although we were very close to where I lived. As I said before, Chevere was on a street perpendicular to mine. But he insisted. And I remember him in the semi-darkness of the main gate of my house. And we were having that kind of conversation where you don't know what to say. And all of a sudden, he kissed me on the forehead, and without thinking about it for a second, he came down to my lips and asked, "Can I see you again, for example, tomorrow?" And I couldn't help it, and I said, "Yes, of course." And that's where all began. I want to think that all of you who are reading or listening to this have experienced a love like this before or at some point in your life. I'm sure that everyone in their life at some point has experienced a love like this. Even if other loves came before or came after, even if you already created a family before or after that, or even if you lost, it doesn't matter. It's burned into your soul and it can't be erased, no matter how many years you spend together. Ron and I lived precious moments. He had a rented flat in Zaragoza, although he worked at the American base. He was a sergeant in the military police at the facility. He called me many times when he couldn't come. I recall conversations with him in my room, on the phone, because it was on my bedside table. We spent many nights talking. I went to his apartment, we went to the base a few times, to the movies, and we went to the restaurants for dinner to spend as much time as we could together. We used to joke about how somewhere on the way to the airbase, I would become an American. No Spanish now. From now on, you are not Spanish. He had a car, a wine-colored Seat 850. We had a good time too. One day, I helped him at home to put a glass in the kitchen window. I was going to call a glacier, and I told him, "No, I can do it. We can do it. I've seen it how it's done." And I did it. It was a lot of fun. And one day, one thing led to another, and I was his for the first time. And I don't regret it. It was the most beautiful moment of my life until then. He was as tender as you can get. He was so surprised that he was the first. We promised each other love. I never thought I could love someone the way I loved Ron, to this day. I found out shortly after, because he confessed it to me, that he had another relationship in the United States and that he was torn between two lovers, as the old song says. I got really angry with him. I was very jealous then, and I was not accepting that someone will take away that love from me. We had our fight, but finally we kissed and made up, and he told me that he was going to do everything in his power to stay in Spain because he had orders to leave, and he had orders to return to the United States. He said he was convinced that he wanted to marry me. Well, it didn't happen in the end. They didn't change his destiny, and he had to go back to America, Grand Forks, North Dakota, even though he was originally from Alexandria, Louisiana. It was May, a May night in Zaragoza. I saw him walking down the street. I could see my older school from the balcony, and after our goodbyes full of tears, full of promises, full of I love you, he left forever. He passed by my school, I still remember, and before he turned the corner to another street, he turned his head and blew me a kiss. And I blew it back to him, and I never saw Ron again. He wrote me letters from the United States telling me where he was going, what he was doing, telling me that he had seen his other girlfriend and that he had spoken to her, and that he was asking for a destination to return to Spain. At some point, I received a letter saying that he had been posted to Belgium. He was so happy and excited about it. And that was it. Suddenly, the letters no longer arrived. And suddenly, the silence. I have to say that at that time I was already married, but that's another chapter. I never heard of Ron again. Never, ever. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he was lying to me all the time. Maybe he died, although I don't want to think that. I guess it wasn't for me after all, but it was a big, big step in my life. He was that lesson that pushes you and teaches you and lets you know, even if it's just for a brief moment in time, what love is. It is that kind of love that remains forever young, that never dies, that never has wrinkles, that is always there to dream to remember. But now you know there was a man called Ronald Dalton, and he saved me in a lot of things and in a lot of ways at that moment. I don't even have a picture of him. He exists now only in my memory.